Welcome to SNG Studios, and this week we're going to be working on the SkyDiver. We're going to be working on all the perks for our movie project, Martians Attack SNG, and we are going to be working on Martians Attacks SNG stuff, props, and well, mainly we're going to be working on the head, the sculpture of the head. Now, this sculpture is not just a bust. I've seen some of that posted. This is a great bust and you got to sell them, but that's not what it is. It's a clay sculpture and it's done in Chavant clay, which doesn't dry out. It's very excellent clay, and that clay sculpture is going to have a mold made on it, and we're going to make a silicone skin, a fiberglass underskull for it, lots of little fancy servos inside and stuff that'll make the face move and the eyes move and all that. So that's what we're going to be working on mostly this week. The SkyDiver demands a lot of attention with the very complex paint job it has. So let's get on with the show. I finally got the little hard wooden balls, which are going to be the forms for our eyes in there. They're actually that big, and you can see they're stuck back in there pretty far. This will give me a nice orbit when I actually do the underskull and create the actual eyes to put inside. And so I'm doing the eyelids here. Now I'm leaving them open for now, so I get a feel for the character on this, but when I go to make the mold, I'm going to close them. So the eyeballs will be closed, a little slit there. Likewise, the mouth is going to be kept like this, and there'll be clay filled up in here. And this is all for molding purposes, so that when I make the mold, we got the full eyelids closed so that we can open them, because it'd be much harder to take this material and push it shut and have it look natural than it would to start with them closed and then open them. This will be in the core as well, so after we do the core for it, so that the back sides of the eyelids will have the same curve in it. It really changes it having actual eyeballs in there. I think one's a little bit more forward, sticking out more than the other, but only slightly, just like a real organic living creature. So we're good for that. What I'm going to do next, and we'll come back and take a look at this, is I'm going to take all this brain matter and I'm going to mush it down so that it's barely readable, because I want the feeling that its brain isn't exposed so much as that it is under a thin coating of skin. And that way, when I paint the whole creature, it's going to have this sort of mottled leopard skin kind of translucent effect on it, which I think is going to be really, really cool. Endlessly detailing this little guy and smoothing him down, and I've added some veins up here which don't want to stay down because there's a bunch of alcohol up there. It has to dry out so the surface stops being slimy before I can finish that off tomorrow. But we're getting lots and lots of detail on him. And the brains are all smoothed down. The idea here, I put some veins here, I'm working on some veins over here, is to give it the effect that there's skin over it, of course, and instead of just being exposed brain. His helmet's going to be brass, the back half of it. The front half's going to be clear, and there's going to be kind of big beams on it with rivets, which is going to be really kind of cool. But the thing that has to be done now is just finally detail this and then smooth it using a combination of brushes and some alcohol. With Roma clay, it would be very effective against the Chavant. Against the clay, getting it to smooth. It's not as effective with the Chavant, which is what I meant to say, but it's not bad. And as I said, lacquer thinner really cuts this stuff beautifully, like water on water-based clay, but I really don't want to go there. I may take it outside tomorrow and then do a brush down a little bit with some lacquer thinner and let it air out there, and then and only then bring it back in. So, but it's starting to punch up, starting to look pretty neat. I think maybe another day of messing around with this, and we're going to go for the mold. Of course, I have to do things, of course, like shut the eyelids, gap the mouth. I talked about that before. And then we can just make a nice two-piece ultracal mold on it, and then after that, of course, it'll get cored so that we have our nice thin skin. And we can also make a mold in the core to make the fiberglass underskull. On the underskull, of course, the jaw will be cut loose just like a skeleton or a skull, and hinged so the mouth can open and close, and the teeth can be made and put on there. These areas here will be cut out and free floating, and there'll be micro servos inside hooked to it that can make them do this. And there'll be other micro servos that will be hooked to bars that will make the eyelids widen and narrow, and of course another couple of micro servos that are going to make the eyes turn right, left, all down, up and down, and all around. So it's really going to be a lot of fun. And of course, my hope is that we're not going to do this out of foam rubber. We're going to do this out of silicone, which I have here, and I'm using Berman silicone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tint it a pale color, translucent, and then I'm going to thin the silicone, make up some more silicone, thin it, make paints out of it, and airbrush it on, and do a silicone paint job on it so it's very translucent. So I haven't done this before. I've only worked with foam latex up to this point in my career. So I have worked with the silicone, but I've never painted it before. So I'm really, really looking forward to doing some new tricks like that. But I'm really pleased where this is at right now. I've got a lot more work to do back here still, blending that vein in, and back behind the head it needs a bit more work, but it's really, really close to being at a point where it can be finished off pretty rapidly. What you're seeing here is our perks, and some of you just tuning in are going to say, perks for what? Well, not too long ago we had a fundraising campaign on Rocket Hub, which is associated or affiliated with arts and entertainment, and we raised enough money, we reached our goal thanks to our backers to do our short science fiction movie called Martians Attack SNG. And what the film is sort of a dark little comedy that's going to show what we do here at the studio, ranging from makeup effects to creature work to props to miniatures and so much more, CGI. So when you backed our show, a certain amount got you a certain perk. And in this case, you got either a communion bust. The communion busts, if you go to our website, you can see what they look like finished. They're very, very beautiful. And they're based on Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, the book cover, which became very famous during the 80s, and later a movie was made of it. Whitley's a very close friend, and he gave me permission a long time ago to produce these. And I'm the only person on the planet Earth that makes them. So 2 of those are going out, one to Simon Merckx, another one to another good friend, Christopher Hunt, who's been a client and a good friend for quite a while now. We also have 2 Spock busts going out, and these were both asked by the backers to be made in bronze as opposed to being painted to look real or fleshy. I really love the way this turned out. We got another one to do here, and I did Spock's ears for the first Star Trek motion picture. It's a long story, but basically I was friends with Fred Phillips. You'll know Fred Phillips. He's the man who did the makeup for Star Trek, the original series, and he also is very well known for his makeup work on The Outer Limits, probably one of the finest programs of science fiction ever on television. He came in one day when I was working at Star Trek and asked me to do Leonard's ears, and he gave me a pair of the original ears sculpted by John Chambers. They were foam set, from the actual TV show that were not used and asked me to replicate those exactly. And thanks to Rick Stratton, the masters were saved when we left Paramount. The masters were used to create more ear molds so that we had multiple ear molds to run foam rubber in it, so we had plenty of ears every day to put on Leonard for the shoot. These are latex pools made from those molds. So these are actually the real sculpt that I did all those years ago, which is a pretty cool thing. Again, you go to our website, you can see what these look like finished, but they get airbrushed and painted. All the flash gets trimmed off, and you have a pair of ears that will last for years to come, because unlike the ones that are actually worn, these are made out of thick rubber, and they'll last years and not rot away the way the foam ones pretty much all I've done. So we managed to get almost all our perks done. We just need another couple of 2-3 sets of ears and get these finished off, and we'll be able to, and I know that the backers are watching, you'll be able to get your perks pretty darn soon. Mary tells me we're rolling, and so am I. And what I'm doing here, and I'm not going to say is making my own Aztecs based on what I'm seeing here on this wonderful iPad, and they are wonderful, aren't they? Looking at the pictures of the real model, that sounds like Gilbert and Sullivan. Looking at the pictures of the real model. Anyway, I'm trying to approximate the sort of Aztecing effect they have, which varies between like a nickel and a lighter sort of gold and a copper and a metal color. So we're just going to do the best we can, because there's no book on this. Well, actually there is, but the book also doesn't show it correctly. And so what I've done is gone around and I've masked it, and I've made sort of an Aztecing effect, because what I'm going to do is take some of this stuff here, this wonderful nickel, and put it in a cup and pour it into my airbrush, and then put this color on. And once this color is on, then I'll put another color on. And once that color's on, I'll rule the world. But you get the idea. So I'm just simply masking this stuff off. It is not as easy as it looks, because you've got a lot of contours and things to go around. In a second here, I am going to paint the actual color on, and we will come back and see how marvelous it looks. At least that's my hope. Let's remove the stuff. And I save this because, you know, it's paper towels and trees die for it and all that kind of stuff. So, and you can reuse it. It's got this lovely tape on it. And so you can remove all this masking. Save this stuff down here. We're going to take this all off. Isn't it lovely? Isn't it wonderful? This Krylon paint dries so fast. You can save the tape too. Okay, just like that. We're going to start removing this stuff and see what we got. Some of this tape I am not going to save because it's nasty. And we should have sort of an Aztecing effect, I'm hoping. You'll see the lovely red ring I put around the door, which I don't know if we covered that or not on video. Did we, Mary? Can we get me masking and doing the door? I know I got it on photography, on pictures, candid snaps, nudge nudge, wink wink, say no more. Okay. Now there's more of this that goes down here, I believe, and I'm going to try to do that just with pieces of styrene, cardboard, quick pieces of tape, and get the massing and the feeling of it, which is how I generally do this stuff. But on this top part, it looked pretty complex, so I really wanted to make it the way you see I'm doing it now. Let's see, I got to get rid of some of this hole-in-one. So, somewhere around here is an X-Acto blade. There was an X-Acto blade. Oh, there it is. I'm going to get off some of this stuff now. I love this part. Peeling off the tape, revealing the coolness underneath. Am I blocking it? I bet I am. Ooh. Oh, that looks neat. Now, Byron didn't want this overly weathered, but we are going to weather it. We have some roughness there too. It just gets me crazy because that was all sanded down. This is what the paint does. It likes to orange peel. So after it's thoroughly dry, like over the weekend, we'll lightly wet sand it, which will really help a great deal. Now we're going to flop it around this side and do this side. Same deal. Ugh. Makes your heart go, don't it? Okay, get all this off. And you can tell that we had some leaky here onto the black. Nothing really bad. All can be fixed very easily. You can tell that this is very well primered, this model, because nothing is coming off on the back sides of this tape. And of course, with as many coats of primer as we put on this to get our panel lines back there. That looks really neat. Now, all we have to do is add about 10 times as much of this. This model has more shading and more stuff going on than a Star Wars model, and that's a fact. This is going to take a while. But we got a good start. Of course, these have to be silver. There's some black here, some red there, some copper there. Let's see what I can do. Lots of painting on this model. At this point, we're doing a lot of shading and modeling and sort of weathering and adding different colored panels using all clads and just kind of freehanding a lot too, just to give it a take the toy edge off of it, which it definitely has and will have. Just that was not supposed to happen, but it did. Yeah, it looks like weathering. But going around and just doing the freehand thing. Well, here I found this little handy piece of paper, which is nice, and just want to be very light with this stuff, and it just kind of punches everything out. I have to add these tabs here, which I haven't done yet, that go over the top of these screws. Now these screws are going to be used to remove these, to paint these, so I can't put the little tabs on it yet. I've just sort of been going around this model as much as I can. And just giving a little bit of relief. And some aging. And I've got these little guys here that have to be done. Every other one until they're all darkened. I love doing the paint job part. It's really my favorite part, although there's some screens I have to put in yet. Screens go in here, some of them go behind here, some of them go back there. I just kind of want to get all the painting in place. We just keep doing this till we got all these. And the more I do this, the more it starts looking like what we see in the pictures. It's amazing how quickly all this starts to happen. Much like a Star Wars model, this is very the real paint job on the real thing is weathered and done to make it look like something that's actually got some scale to it and has been used in the ocean and all brand new and shiny clean. Bit by bit. And because this is Tamiya flat black, it dries very, very quickly. So as fast as you do one, you can do the other, the next one, without too much damage. Because I'm pushing the tape right over the last one here. A little bit of it leaked under, but I'm going to go back over with more gold in an airbrush and fix that. Plus there's red tape that goes here, some silver tape and silver that goes here. There's some discrepancies between this model here I'm looking at, which I think is the bigger one, and this one.
So, we're not saying so now, are we, Mary? What I'm doing now is something I should have caught before and didn't catch before. Actually, I did, and then I forgot about it. These are sort of molded in. And Mary, if you go on the other side of the model, you'll see that I've done it on that side. But basically what I'm doing is using Evercoat, I'm sort of blending off these little intakes or whatever they are. Which is really annoying because I had this side all done, but you know, hey, welcome to the wonderful world of modeling. I found that just taking the Evercoat and kind of creaming it in with my hands blended all this stuff off rather well. So after this is done, I'm going to take some primer and check to see that it's all nice and smooth. And you notice if you look around the whole model, from stem to stern, or bow to stern, you'll see that there's lots of colors and lots of blacks and lots of silvers, and all clads have been added to this model. There are still plenty left to go, but we are getting closer every day. We're getting closer every day. No? Okay, I won't do it again. So, and I did say so that time. I'm going to get this all blended off and then get this repainted, sort of a gunmetal, which is what it's supposed to be. We'll cut that out. We'll get this blended and painted and pull this tape off and have a real good look at this model before we close today. Getting a lot more color on this model. I'm noticing little things I'm going to have to fix. Like I was following their scribe lines to cut these windows, and I thought, well, it's supposed to go up an angle like this because that's how it is. Then I look on this side, and I was following the scribe. It's level to this line here, so I'm going to have to adjust that down. There's lots of idiosyncrasies on this model that are like that, but overall, it's shaping up pretty well. I've got a lot of the different colors in there now. You can see looking at it from the back that this has all been painted now. We're starting to work on the fins here. I still have a lot to do on this side. I've started putting on some of the red striping, which at first I did with tape and said, you know what, even though it's pinstripe tape for cars, it just doesn't look right. I used it here to get the effect of the vents. It works fine. This stuff is this is waterproof. It's for car bodies. Once this stuff sticks, it stays down pretty good for years to come. Plus there'll be clear over it. There are little red lines right through here that go on the outside. This thing is littered. So I've got easily a few more days of painting on this before I even get the top side done. So I'm hoping next week, I was hoping this week that we'd be done painting it, but we're not. Likewise, I've got a few little parts that go here, which are the guns. As I wrote about, only one of the resin pieces actually cast. I'm going to walk behind Mary here in the camera and I'll show you what I mean. This here, if you can zoom in on that, Mary, that's a muzzle. That's a gun muzzle right there, a bell as we call it. And there's a bubble in that. And then here's the other 4 that I'm supposed to have.
They're non-existent. They never even got cast up. The model got sent out this way. I have another sheet of these, same thing. So I'm going to have to manufacture that. These little bumps here go on the side. So there's still a lot to do this. As much as it's starting to look like it's pretty well getting there and done, there's a piece that goes here with the mass parts on it. We did find those, but I'm going to have to make the part that goes back here. So we got screens to put in here. There's a screen. Luckily, I have exactly the right kind of screen to go in there. Got windows to go in here. We got some screens to go here. So it's going to take another week before this will be done, and then hopefully by that time we'll start to see the stuff that goes inside that makes it go forward, backwards, up and down. Well, it's been quite a week at SNG Studios, and mostly what we did, as you know, was the SkyDiver, but we did get the perks pretty much all made, everything but the group photograph that many people will be getting for their backing of Martians Attack SNG. But we did get a fair amount of work done on the Martian sculpture itself, which is really coming along really well. For those of you who may not be reading what I've been writing about with that, I have completely changed, or Mary and I have completely changed the Martian, and basically we're taking our own spin on it. That's why we don't have a lot of brain matter showing. There's actually skin growing over the brain. We've given it lips, we've given it eyebrows, we've given it eyelids so that it can blink and have expression and all that kind of stuff. And wait till you see what's coming next, and you will see that next week. So keep watching the Facebook page, the blog, and our videos. And remember to subscribe to SNG Studios to keep up to date. See you guys.
Don't forget Google+.
Oh, and don't forget Google+. We're there too.